Thank you, Madam Chair, and dear colleagues and Monterey County residents, today marks the 20th day of invasion of Ukraine by the Russian Federation. Our hearts and our prayers go out to the people and the government of Ukraine who have fought and led so heroically and courageously each day for their freedom and their self-determination to remain an independent nation. Ukrainians have bravely fought back an invading world superpower over the last 3 weeks, placing their safety and their lives on the line each day. On March 1st, only a few days after the initial invasion, this Board of Supervisors became the first in California to express its support for the people of Ukraine, strongly condemned the Russian Federation's invasion, and urged the United States to continue to provide support to the Ukrainian government. Since then, nearly 600 people have died, including women and children, but the indiscriminate shelling by Russian bombs continue each day. Mayors have been kidnapped. There is a real threat of chemical weapons being used in the coming days. A base only 15 miles from Poland was bombed just a couple days ago, and large numbers of Russian forces are growing just outside the capital of Kyiv. In our March 1st resolution, we approved that the Ukrainian flag be flown with the United States flag. However, according to the proper protocols and flag etiquette, flags from two different nations must be flown on separate staffs or poles and must be flown at the same height. Since we don't have multiple poles on our county buildings on the outside, we have decided that we will display the Ukrainian flag inside our chambers and outside of our chamber doors in the lobby. Today, we are honored to also show solidarity with the people of Ukraine by playing the national anthems of the United States and Ukraine, and to have some of our very own county employees of Ukrainian American descent share some words with us. Our county is proud to stand with them and their families. On a personal note, I pray that God be with and give continued strength to the courageous people of Ukraine who have earned the support, the respect, and the admiration of democratic nations and people throughout the world. May Godspeed, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Alejo. And I believe now we're going to hear the national anthems. Would you all please rise while we hear the national anthem?
Remain standing for the Ukrainian national anthem.
Thank you. Chair, members of the board, when the idea of honoring the people of Ukraine first came forward, I mentioned that one of the employees in the county counsel's office, Deputy County Counsel Marina Panchenko, has family in Ukraine. I'd like to invite her up to say a few words, but before I do, Ms. Panchenko has been in trial for the last 2 weeks, and before that, preparing for trial. And she's had to do this under very difficult circumstances. And I think I want to thank her for her dedication during that time. So Marina, if you would please come up to the podium and say a few words.
Thank you so much. I tried so hard not to cry before I began. Honorable Chair, members of the board, and Mr. Gerard and Mr. McKee, on behalf of my whole family, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your open support of ending the war in Ukraine. So many innocent lives, as Supervisor Alejo noted, have been lost, including families, expecting mothers and children. Millions of refugees have fled, and hundreds of thousands remain under daily bombing attacks without access to electricity, gas, or water. While countless of my fellow Ukrainians don't know what each day will bring, I want to share the words of my family who fled their homes and are actually watching this meeting now from abroad in Europe. It matters to us that the world is speaking out. It gives us hope that light will prevail over darkness, and we will get to return to our home soon and rebuild. From my sister-in-law, Yulia, who spent a long and dangerous journey fleeing Kiev and is now taking shelter with her young son in Germany. The world will know us, she says, the world will know us not just for our famous Ukrainian athletes now, but as heroes who defended their home. May this be the last war any of us have ever known. Finally, I just want to relay a few words of my mom, Lyudmila Panchenko. Dear supervisors, thank you so much for your support. You live in a beautiful country, a country that welcomed my 3 children, my husband and I, with nothing more than 2 suitcases and $300 in our pocket. Please continue to protect and cherish your freedoms and democracy. And God bless Ukraine, and God bless the United States of America. I just want to personally thank you very much. I'm so proud to be a part of the county family, and I just can't express my gratitude for this tremendous support. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Panchenko.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. I think those are really nice words, and just I couldn't add anything to that. We also have Deputy District Attorney Nana Knight here today, who also has connection to Ukraine. And I don't know, Nana's here. There she is. Come up and make a few comments.
Good morning, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board today. The statement that I'm about to make are my personal views and not those of the District Attorney's Office. As someone who immigrated to the United States from the former Soviet Union, or what Vladimir Putin calls Ближнее зарубежье, which translates to near abroad, I am no stranger to authoritarianism, revanchism, chaos, and violence. Vladimir Putin is a power-hungry authoritarian who uses violence and destruction to strengthen his regime. I have vivid memories as a child of Russian tanks rumbling down the streets of Yerevan, the city where I was born, the capital of the former Soviet Republic of Armenia. When I was 8 years old, a Russian tank shell killed my great-grandfather while he was peacefully tending to his bees he kept in the countryside. When the Soviet Union officially dissolved into bloody chaos in 1991, I was there with my family living through that chaos. The Republic of Armenia went to war against Azerbaijan to protect the ethnic Armenian enclave of Nagorno-Karabakh. In that war, Armenian forces, despite facing a much larger Azerbaijani force, prevailed. Approximately 6,000 Armenians died in that war, and Nagorno-Karabakh conflict became one of the many frozen conflicts that Putin exploited over the years to extend his power and influence. In 2008, he invaded the Republic of Georgia under the pretext of protecting South Ossetia, and Abkhazia, and integrated those areas, both frozen conflict zones, into Russia. And now Putin has invaded Ukraine with the goal of using violence and chaos as tools of statecraft in another former Soviet republic to either incorporate part or all of Ukraine into a greater Russia, or to strike fear into the hearts of Ukrainians and all residents of former Soviet republics, to deter them from democratically electing leaders who are not toadies of Vladimir Putin. And on February 22nd of this year, Russian military forces invaded Ukraine, and this time Putin has gone too far. His reach seems to have exceeded his grasp. He is bombing kindergartens and maternity wards at hospitals, using thermobaric munitions in densely populated areas, a hypocrite who has tried to cast himself as the protector of Orthodox Christian faith. He has dispatched units of Chechen militiamen, Kadyrovites, notorious for their human rights abuses, including rape, torture, and murder, to pillage and murder Orthodox Christian Ukrainians. This time, the West has united in support of the besieged Ukrainians. I can speak directly to that as a United States Air Force military officer. My military base where I served, the 144th Fighter Wing, California Air National Guard, has for many years trained Ukrainian pilots in fighter plane tactics, and our base has cultivated very strong relationships with the Ukrainian pilots. As a result, we get intimate knowledge of what is going on in Ukraine, which allows us to provide help to our Ukrainian military colleagues. And while the Russian military undoubtedly enjoys numeric superiority over Ukrainian forces when it comes to equipment and boots on the ground, it lacks the morale that can prove a decisive advantage. Just as the Continental Army defeated the mightiest military on earth at the time, because Americans fought for their homeland and freedom, the Ukrainians can prevail over Putin's forces by leveraging their high morale. Putin has shocked the international community by upending the post-World War II order in Europe, but Western Europe and the United States have united to provide unprecedented support to the Ukrainians, and we can do our part here in Monterey County by speaking out against Putin's murderous aggression and voicing our support for the Ukrainian people. As someone who immigrated to this country from what Russia considers as near abroad, I do not want to see Russia turn Ukraine into either a vassal state or a post-apocalyptic nightmare, and neither should you. Thank you.